The Lotus Excel, a car that embodies the spirit of British engineering, a machine built to balance precision, agility, and a dash of everyday practicality. For some, it might seem like just another sports car from the 1980s. But for those who've driven one, for those who've taken the time to admire its curves and feel the thrill of its ride, it's something much more profound. It's a testament to what happens when innovation meets passion. So, let's take a closer look at the Lotus Excel. Let's understand why it's more than just an underrated classic. Let's uncover its story, its strengths, and even its quirks. First, a bit of history. To truly understand the Excel, we need to go back to its roots. It all began with the Lotus Eclat in the 1970s. The Eclat itself, an evolution of the Lotus Elite, was part of Lotus's bold foray into the world of practical sports cars. But by the early 1980s, Lotus needed a refresh, a car that could uphold its reputation for driving excellence while broadening its appeal. The result was the Excel, introduced in 1982. The Excel wasn't just a replacement for the Eclat, it was a leap forward. It was the culmination of Lotus's decades-long pursuit of lightweight construction, sharp handling, and innovative design. And thanks to a partnership with Toyota, the Excel came equipped with an edge that many of its contemporaries couldn't match. Under the hood was a 2.2-liter DOHC engine, part of Lotus's 900 series. With 160 horsepower in the early models and up to 180 horsepower in later SE variants, the Excel wasn't about straight-line speed. It was about balance, agility, and the sheer joy of driving. The engine was paired with a 5-speed manual gearbox, sourced from Toyota, that offered a slick, precise feel. Toyota's involvement didn't end there. The Excel also featured a rear differential and other components borrowed from the Toyota Supra. This collaboration didn't just improve reliability, it made the Excel a car you could genuinely enjoy every day. And then there's the chassis. If there's one thing Lotus has always excelled at, it's making a car handle like a dream. The Excel's backbone chassis was a work of art, a steel frame bonded to fiberglass body panels that kept weight to a minimum. The result? A car that tipped the scales at just over 100 kilograms. Combine that with perfect 50-50 weight distribution and fully independent suspension, and you have a car that dances through corners with an ease and grace that feels almost telepathic. The steering, too, deserves special mention. It's unassisted, which means no power steering pump, no hydraulics, just a direct mechanical connection between you and the road. It's the kind of steering feel that's becoming increasingly rare in the modern era. You don't just guide the Excel, you communicate with it. Every corner, every undulation in the tarmac is transmitted to your fingertips, making the driving experience that much more immersive. But the Excel wasn't just about performance. Lotus designed it to be livable. The cabin was a clear step up from earlier Lotus models, with better build quality, a more ergonomic layout, and surprisingly generous space for both driver and passenger. It wasn't luxurious in the traditional sense, but it was comfortable, with leather upholstery, a good sound system, and enough room to carry a weekend's worth of luggage, or even a set of golf clubs. Then there's the styling. The Excel's design may not be as iconic as the wedge-shaped Esprit, but it's no less striking. The pop-up headlights, the clean lines, the wide stance, it's a car that exudes confidence without shouting. And let's not forget the rear end, with its wraparound taillights and integrated spoiler. It's a design that's aged gracefully, still turning heads decades after it first hit the streets. Of course, like any car, the Lotus Excel wasn't perfect. Build quality, while improved over earlier models, was still an Achilles heel. Electrical gremlins and minor niggles weren't uncommon, a reminder that this was a car built by a small, specialist manufacturer, not a mass-market giant. And while the Toyota-sourced components added reliability, maintaining an Excel still requires a bit of dedication and access to a mechanic who understands the intricacies of Lotus engineering. But for those who appreciate what the Excel offers, these quirks are part of its charm. Owning a Lotus Excel isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about the joy of driving, the thrill of hearing the engine roar as you climb through the revs, and the satisfaction of piloting a car that feels alive in your hands. As the years went on, the Excel continued to evolve. The SE variant brought more power, improved aerodynamics, and subtle refinements to the interior. By the time production ended in 1992, over 2,000 Excels had been built, a modest number, but one that secured its place in the Lotus legacy. Today, the Lotus Excel is something of a hidden gem. It doesn't have the fame of the Esprit or the raw appeal of the Elise, but for those who know, it represents a golden era for Lotus. It's a car that perfectly encapsulates the brand's ethos: simplify, then add lightness, while offering practicality that makes it a genuine contender as a classic you can drive and enjoy regularly. And let's talk about value. The Excel remains one of the most affordable ways to own a piece of Lotus history. Prices have started to climb in recent years as more enthusiasts discover its appeal, but compared to other classic sports cars, it's still a bargain. For the price of a mundane modern hatchback, you could own a hand-built, precision-engineered sports car with a pedigree few others can match. So, who is the Lotus Excel for? It's for the driver who values connection over outright power. For the enthusiast who wants a car that rewards skill and precision. For the individual who appreciates the art of driving and isn't afraid to embrace the quirks that come with owning a classic British sports car. In the end, the Lotus Excel is more than the sum of its parts. It's a car that captures the essence of what makes driving special. It's a reminder that, in the pursuit of automotive perfection, it's not always about numbers or prestige. Sometimes it's about balance, it's about passion, and, most importantly, it's about the joy of the journey. The Lotus Excel may not be the loudest or the fastest, but it's a car that leaves an impression, one you won't soon forget.